Let's get right into it. Today we're talking about a story about taking on a challenge so huge it feels like the weight of an entire country is resting right on your shoulders. You know, that moment when your job stops being just a job and becomes something else entirely.
Can you imagine that? Just letting that realization sink in. One day you're doing your thing, a systems engineer, and then boom. The next you realize you're responsible for something that touches millions of people's lives. That's the shock that kicks this whole story off.
Now, the person at the heart of this wasn't some rookie. Not at all. They were 6 years into their career, a really seasoned system engineer. This was someone who put in the time, led teams, and really knew their stuff. They had definitely earned their stripes.
At their previous peak, they'd managed teams of up to 80 developers. And listen, that is no small feat. That's a serious operation, the kind of thing that really tests your skills. It shows you can handle real complexity. So, you can imagine, with that kind of experience under their belt, they were feeling pretty confident. A project with 100 people? Yeah, no problem. They probably thought, bring it on. They were totally ready for that next step up. But the next project wasn't 100 people. It was double that, 200. Right there, the scale just completely shifts. You go from managing a large project to a truly massive one.
And here's the kicker. This wasn't just any big project. This was the core system for the entire nation's financial industry. I mean, if this system stops, it's not just a bad day at the office. The country's economy, people's savings, businesses, everything is impacted. The stakes couldn't be higher.
And that's when it hits, the full crushing weight of that responsibility. That feeling, I think we've all felt a version of it. That shock when you realize just how much is on your shoulders. It's overwhelming. And hey, if you find stories like this about overcoming these huge professional challenges as fascinating as I do, this is a great time to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Clack, dunk, dunk.
So, okay, the stakes are set ridiculously high. Now let's look at the actual job. Because this wasn't just about managing more people. Oh no, it was about jumping headfirst into completely new technical territory.
Just look at this contrast. Our hero was an absolute expert in Cobol. That was their world, they knew the rules, the processes, it was comfortable. But this new role, it was in a Java environment, something they had never managed before. It came with a whole new universe of responsibilities.
And that new role was called configuration management. Now, this is not about just writing code. This is like being the architect for the whole system. You're drawing up the blueprint for how every single piece talks to each other, how it gets deployed, and how it stays up and running. And the scope here is just, wow. We're talking about how the servers are set up, the structure of the programs, the deployment process, how things are tested, backups, all of it. The configuration manager has to design all these crucial rules for the entire 200-person team to follow. So you see the point here. In a system this important, there is absolutely zero margin for error. A mistake isn't an option. Every single decision, which server to use, how to test a new feature, it all had to be perfect, and it had to be communicated flawlessly. The pressure is just immense.
Now, when you're faced with that kind of insane pressure and a learning curve that's practically a vertical wall, you'd expect someone to crumble. But what happened here was the complete opposite. This challenge became the very thing that forged a leader.
So you have to ask yourself, right, was this job really just about the technical stuff, managing files and servers, or was there something much deeper going on?
And the answer is, not at all. This role went way beyond the technical details. It became about thinking strategically. How do you make a team of 200 people work together efficiently? And, even more important, how do you manage and reduce the enormous risks involved? This was a total shift. From being a programmer to being a strategist.
This whole experience basically became a leadership fast track. It forced a super deep understanding of the system's core, it sharpened the ability to make tough calls under extreme pressure, and it really built the skills of a true next-generation leader. By the way, if you find these kinds of career deep dives valuable, we'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to the channel.
So, this entire journey, from that initial fear to becoming a leader, it all leads to this incredibly powerful personal transformation. It's a fundamental change in mindset that changes absolutely everything. Think about it like an equation. On one side, you've got this hard-won confidence from years of experience, and on the other, you have this constant, intense tension from this huge responsibility. So what happens when you put those two things together? You get a purpose. That feeling of trembling, the fear, it doesn't just go away. It transforms into this profound sense of duty, of pride. It's not a terrifying burden anymore. It's a mission. I am supporting Japan. The whole perspective just flips.
And with that powerful new purpose comes this quiet, steady resolve. The fear is probably still there, somewhere, but now it's balanced by this incredible determination. I can do this. It's a commitment to face it all, one day at a time.
So, we'll leave you with this question. For this engineer, their biggest, most terrifying challenge became their greatest source of growth and their life's purpose. It really makes you think, what challenge in your own life, the one that seems impossible right now, might just be the one that ends up defining you.